Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about this new record from Jason Isbell, entitled Foxes in the Snow. He released that on March 7th. This is studio album number 10 for the singer-songwriter. Congrats on that milestone. And his follow-up to 2023's Weather Vanes, which he recorded with his band, the 400 Unit. If you're not familiar with Jason, he's actually spent the last decade releasing records with the 400 Unit. If you want to go back to the last project without them, you have to go all the way back to 2015's Something More Than Free, which still actually featured a lot of the same personnel from the 400 Unit. This new record, Foxes in the Snow, not just big because it's number 10. I think more important, this is the first time that Jason Isbell has released a solo acoustic record. This is a folk album, plain and simple, showcasing his vocal talents and the beautiful tone of a 1940 Martin 017. The two sound brilliant together. He worked with Gina Johnson on this in Electric Lady Studios, so I think that she has a big part into why this album sounds as good as it does. But obviously, Jason, a very talented guy, a great lyricist, a great songwriter, and this is just roots music at its purest. I think that this might be one of the coolest things that he has ever done in his career. There's also a lot of people calling this a divorce record, and I can see that to a certain degree, but I think just keeping it that simple does the record a disservice. I think that with the storytelling and with the lessons that are imparted from this record, it's so much more than that. Jason going through a divorce in the last year and a half, I believe. He filed for divorce from his wife, Amanda, who is actually a part of the 400 Unit. Very talented fiddle player, great vocalist. And I think that going solo for this project after over a decade just completely makes sense. Trying to venture out on his own and forge his new path. And we talk about that a lot on the channel. And, you know, this is just a perfect example of trying to overcome life's obstacles and trying to find that new direction that you need to go in, especially in his case. You know, he had a handful of friends and Amanda stage an intervention a little over a decade ago. So for all that time now, he's been sober. He's had focus and direction in his craft, putting out some of the best records, honestly, in the last decade that any musician really has. I mean, he is a phenomenal talent. Beautiful wife. They have a daughter. It seemed like he was at a point in his life where he had it all figured out, but that's really when life tends to just pull the rug out from under you. I don't know personally what happened in their relationship. I don't really care to get into the specifics on that. I don't think it's important. But I think what is important is him realizing that in order to find that new direction, he needed to go out on his own. And I think that that's what this record symbolizes more than anything, with the brilliant storytelling, with the nostalgia. And I mentioned the word roots music and getting back to your roots. That's really one of the big things at the core of this project too. He's an Alabama boy. And what I want to bring up is that reflecting on your roots, reflecting on your upbringing, whether it's the experience that you had with your family, whether it's where you were growing up, isn't always necessarily an easy thing. I feel very thankful that I love the place that I grew up in. I love my family. I really had a phenomenal upbringing. And I know that's not how it is for a lot of people. But I think what's really important about that is identifying the things that you loved or the things that put you off. And if you were in one of those situations where you were put off by your surroundings, whatever your situation was, there's still that energy, that vitality that you had when you were younger, the impulse, the impetus to get out on your own and to do what it is that you want to do. And I think it's important to get back to those stages in the game, because when you're young, there's this sense of promise, this idea that the world is yours and that you can go out and do anything you want. There's almost a level of naivete involved with that as well. And I think that as life unfolds and, you know, deals you its cards, that's where, as you get older, you kind of find yourself in a situation, whatever it might be, and it's easy to lose that, you know, that idealistic sensibility, that, you know, that impulse to dream, let's call it. And so being able to tap into your roots, being able to go back to the beginnings where you had that energy and you were really looking to set out and carve out your path, I think fundamentally is important and really what is at the core of this record. The storytelling is amazing. I think that his guitar playing is outstanding. I really like the structure of a lot of these songs. I think most of them will ride through the verses with an arpeggiated, plucking pattern that it seems, very typical of folk music. But then a lot of the choruses, they go for big chords and big vocals. And there's definitely elements of pop. There's elements of punk. There are a lot of other components that are driving the choruses of these songs. And even in the verses, he's mixing things up and doing a few different things. You can feel the influence of songwriters like John Prine, like Bob Dylan. Just think of the best folk musicians out there. Joni Mitchell is another one that comes to mind right off the top of my head. And giving it more of a contemporary feel and giving it his own feel. I think that this record is just so exceptional for everything that he's doing with as simple as things are. The 400 unit is a marvelous outfit, but when you have bass and drums and the fiddle, and when you have access to all these different things that you can use to create layers and textures, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to that. I love all of that. But I think really this record shows how strong of an artist he is when he has the ability to just be so impactful with just his voice and his guitar. I was listening to the Acoustic Storm going into work yesterday morning, and Bonnie Raitt was talking about that. She was talking about how her favorite performances are just those acoustic ones with the intimacy that's there, with the just that fun, just stripped down element that goes along with a show like that. And I couldn't agree more with her, and I'm really pumped that Jason made this move and put this record out. This album kicks off with Bury Me. We're going to read a lot of lyrics here too, because I am just very, very impressed by all of them. This song opens up a cappella, so I love that, just hearing his voice go to work immediately. But he says, bury me where the wind don't blow, where the dust won't cover me, where the tall grass grows, or bury me right where I fall. Tokyo to Tennessee, I love them all. See the windmills turn up 55, still got so much to learn, still feel alive. And one lonely girl is all I need to tie me to this world. Make me believe. Well, I ain't no cowboy, but I can ride, and I ain't no outlaw, but I've been inside. And I love this line. And there were bars of steel, boys, and there were bars to sing, and there were bars for swinging doors for all the time in between. Just, being able to put you in a place, put you in a moment, an experience, and allow you to live that through the song is what great songwriters do. And throughout this record, so many instances like this where I think that Jason's able to just, put you there on that Friday night again, where, you're out there, you're chasing down a girl or chasing down a boy, whomever you're into, and everything just feels so alive. You feel like the world is just everything is just right there at your fingertips and no one can stop you. And there's so many moments on this record that capture that energy. And that's that energy. That's that energy that he's trying to dial into to find that new direction to move forward. I really like the big gospel drive that's in this song, especially with that a cappella open. Mid-tempo rhythm hits to move into a driving track. Solo works at about a minute, so I'm loving that feature of this record too. He's definitely showcasing a lot of great finger work. And then there's another solo in this track after about 2 minutes. But just a big punch to open right up. Great way to get this thing started. Ride to Roberts is your second track. It's an ode to Robert's Western world. So another track where he's really just putting you in a place and something that it sounds like he's really loved throughout his life, those experiences. And I love these lyrics too. Everything's green right now. Tennessee at the end of June. You get a day to come down. We'll ride to Roberts in the afternoon. Before the room gets packed, we'll claim a table at the upstairs bar, count the cowboy hats, bachelorettes that don't know where they are. And I don't say things that I don't mean. You're the best thing I've ever seen. You can have my money if you spend your own. Well, I'm still running, but I'm not alone. We all get lost out here. The deepest ditches line the righteous path. God said, hold my beer, and he made a man so he could watch and laugh. It's just impressive. I mean, really, really love that line there at the end too. Folk driven. You get this kind of just like gentle plucking in the riff. Evolves into a rhythmic drive with the vocal though. So I love that transition there. And again, I think that's one of the best features as far as just trying to create different components to these tracks, trying to mix up the compositions a little bit. Opening riff works as a bridge between the verses, so I dig that. Going back to that riff because it's a really damn good one. Up tempo and pensive, just a very thoughtful song. Eileen is your third track. This is one of those songs where we're getting more into the heartbreak element of things here. Arpeggiated acoustic riff is going to open with just a rapid pace, and then it stalls. I really like this moment. It starts again at a more relaxed tempo with the vocal. You're going to get a great solo at around 2 minutes. The guitar playing is just stellar on this song. It softens and intensifies as it carries on, and I like that balance, that back and forth between those mellower moments and then when he's really bringing some intensity to the track. Gravelweed is your fourth track. Same movement in the guitar as Eileen to open. I really enjoyed that transition there for that reason. Soft and strong back and forth again in this song. Chorus is hard with a big soaring vocal, and this is one of those tracks that it almost has kind of like a punk energy to it. Solo at about 2:15, and big fan of the lyrics on this guy too. I wish that I could be angry, punch a hole in the wall, drink a fifth of cheap whiskey, and call and call and call. But that ain't me anymore, baby. Never was, to tell the truth. I just saw it in a movie and thought that that's what I was supposed to do. I was a gravelweed and I needed you to raise me. I'm sorry the day came when I felt like I was raised. And now that I live to see my melodies betray me, I'm sorry the love songs all mean different things today. Talking about roots and getting back there, I think, growing up, the most important thing about being young is that you do make mistakes and learning from those mistakes and right out the gate with those lyrics. He's been in some dark places. He has traversed a dark path at moments in his life. And so like identifying that, getting back to that's just like not an option. Like you've done so much to move forward and you've learned those lessons from those situations, from those moments in your life, and to backtrack and to fall back into that same pit would just completely undo you. So it's a full awareness of everything that you've experienced, whether good or bad. And I really, really am a big fan of that song and the way it opens. Don't Be Tough is your fifth track. Back to more of a folk feel. I feel the last couple of songs kind of went into more of I call it a singer-songwriter arena, but I think to a certain degree there's, I don't know, I feel like good folk music has that just you can feel the Americana in it. You can feel a little bit of like a bluesy influence, just all the things that have driven us to this point in the creation of popular music. But Don't Be Tough is a great song. I mean, this is a song that it's uplifting. There's just a ton of great lessons that he imparts through this thing. Big strum ushers in the vocal, arpeggiated riff, lyrics full of that classic hard, honest truth, like I said. And I love this. Don't be tough until you have to. Take your heartbreak on the chin. Don't forget the shit you went through. Throw your caution to the wind. I love this line. Don't be tough until you have to. Let love knock you on your ass. Don't be shitty to the waiter. He's had a harder day than you. For all of you that have ever been in the service industry, Jason has our back. I really enjoyed that line and that perspective. Don't make babies stay up later just because they're so damn cute. Don't say love unless you mean it. Well, don't say sorry unless you're wrong. Tell a story like you've seen it. Tell yourself that you belong. Sorry, man. I won't apologize, actually. Like these lyrics definitely, I'm a big fan of these. Don't be tough until you have to. Take your heartbreak on the chin. Let's get through a few more of these here. And if you get to feeling lonely, read out loud if you can read. Take a nap if you get sleepy. If you're hungry, try to eat. And if you want to, go and get it. Don't just pray and wait around. Life will kill you if you let it. So when you're down, then say you're down. Just this, this track continues to go on, and just one of my favorite moments on the record. I really I dig his perspective. It's fresh and it's It's honest and sometimes it's tough, but I think that the truth can be tough to digest, but we all have to do it from time to time. And, it's just, it's great having Jason as a songwriter out there to do that for us. Open and Close is your sixth song. I love this track. I love just the kind of playfulness. And again, he's putting you in a time and place and a situation. It's a gorgeous arpeggiated riff to open this thing. Almost just twinkles. I really, really dig this particular riff. Guitar hits with a rhythmic stride with the vocal, somber, heartbreaking tune. And I get such a kick out of the opening here. The fireplace isn't real. It's some sort of LED light and mirror. But I like that better tonight. Sitting here with a woman I don't know at all. She's so small. And I'm mad at the sidewalk. I'm mad at the rain. I'm mad at the band that played Kid Charlemagne in a bar in the village. And the solo was fucked all the hell. like of all the songs he could pick to be salty about, he picks I don't know if it's necessarily an obscure Steely Dan song, but I don't know if many people know that particular song. And I just think that it's funny. I definitely have been there in that time and place where you've maybe had too many, and there's just a really bad cover band doing their thing. And, when they fuck up the solo and you're waiting for that moment and you don't get it, it's like, come on, man. Like, you guys should be rehearsing this better. I just love that part of this song and the storytelling there. Your title track, Foxes in the Snow, is your seventh song. I feel like, as far as the sound, this is the most unique track on the record. You get kind of this big Zydeco influence driving the folk sound of this track. So a little bit of blues there as well. Arpeggiated riff to open. It's got this slightly sinister edge, which I really appreciated too. It builds this intense sort of like suspicion. The chorus has this great rhythmic drive. Solo at about 1:30. It's going to ride that out for about 45 seconds. Really dig the solo on that song. Crimson and Clay, your eighth track. Breezy rhythmic drive, ushers in the vocal. Mood is dark and pensive. Chorus is going to find some lighter melodies, and then just a nice little bridge around 145. I wouldn't necessarily call it a middle eight. There's definitely like a big familiarity as far as the melody that's at work there, but it definitely does take like a slightly different shift at that point. And Crimson and Clay is one of those songs where, talking about his Alabama upbringing, and Jason Isbell is it's very well known that he's a Democrat. I think he played at the national convention on this last go around. I had it with me everywhere I've been. Red clay under my nails, deep crimson on my skin. You could strip me of everything I own and just leave me with the memories of my Alabama home. I guess the highway didn't kill me after all. Well, I thought I was a goner in that trailer fire in Arkansas, but I just let it burn and walked away and crawled back to the crimson and the clay. I got a little bolt action for my 9th birthday, and I can flip a silver dollar from 100 yards away, 1911 under my floor mat. Then one day it just occurred to me, I got no use for that. If you don't want your 1911, Jason, I'll take that. That is a beautiful gun. I guess the city didn't kill me after all. The thing that nearly took me out was loneliness and alcohol, and I just put it down and walked away and crawled back to the crimson and the clay. See the moon in the morning, I anticipate the night. Lick the spoon in the kitchen, we prayed to Martha White. Little noose in the locker, brown eyes crying in the hall. Rebel flags on the highway, wooden crosses on the wall. Guess the small town didn't suit me after all. There's still so many lonely kids surrounded by the rest of y'all. And I can't seem to keep myself away, so I head back to the crimson and the clay. I love that song. I love that perspective, as far as, we all come from places where there's good and there's bad, and it's, learning to distill all of that in a way that we can grow and become the people that we want to be, seeing what we don't want to be, seeing what we do want to be. And my family being out in the South now for gosh, it's been like 5-6 years, I think, that they've all been out there now. Georgia in a lot of ways feels like my new home. I grew up in Prescott, Arizona, but I love the South. It's not a perfect place by any means, but I feel like I hear a lot of people say ignorant things about how everybody's just racist down there and how it's just a place full of hate, and it's not. There are a lot of beautiful people in the South, all different types of people, and it's maybe it's maybe full of some of the kindest people that I've ever encountered and met in my entire life. And so I love that. I love that he identifies that he's not willing to just like cast off his home. He knows that, Alabama, if you've never been, is a beautiful place. I love driving through Alabama on the 20, going through Birmingham, and taking that route on my way into Georgia to go see my family. It's a beautiful place, and it really does have a lot to offer. And I think if you look hard enough, most places do have something good to offer. Good While It Lasted is your ninth track. This is where we start to get into more of the heartbreak, I guess, divorce element of this record. Driving acoustic rhythm and vocal melody just brilliantly captures the ache of heartbreak. I really love the lyrics on this song. Chorus finds joyous melodies and the reflections on them of those moments, though. I think one of the toughest things about going through a breakup of any kind, whether it's romantic or just a personal friendship, whatever it might be, is reflecting on those good moments and knowing that there was something good there. But it can be tough sometimes when there is that sense of bitterness there, but knowing that it wasn't a waste. Like there were moments in your life where you were happy, and even though that might not have carried out through the final moments of your days, you still had good days, and that matters. True Believer is your 10th track. I think this is the one that most people are saying is about Amanda. Who knows if it is? It could be. It couldn't be. I think that sells it short. I think it's really just another tough song about heartbreak, about loss, and trying to grieve the loss of a lover. Gentle but firm feel in the arpeggiated riff, vocal hits, and the song rides this wave. Different from most of the tracks that shift between the plucking and the strumming. It seems like he's not going to do it, but then he does go after it. So that structure is there a little bit. And I really, when he does hit the chorus, there's this big driving flair that it does have a lot of kind of like rock and roll, a little bit of punk energy. But I love the lines in True Believer. This will be the last one that I read, but a lot of dangerous memories, a lot of bars in this town, but oh, I have loved and lost and then still stuck around. But I heard God in the rhyming. I crawled out of the grave, and I guess I'm still a true believer, babe. And then he goes, and all your girlfriends say I broke your fucking heart, and I don't like it. There's a letter on the nightstand I don't think I'll ever read. Well, I finally found a match, and you kept daring me to strike it, and now I have to let it burn and let it be. He is the one that filed for divorce. I will say that. It's tough. It's a tough one, and he really brilliant moment on this record. I'd say in his career, in his catalog. Love those lines. They just cut to the core and they're biting. But I think that if you let them sit, if you let them sink in, there's that idea of knowing when something's gone sour. And that's, it's time to move on. Like when things are bad, there's no reason to just drag yourself through it. And it can be difficult. We find ourselves in places that are comfortable, places that are familiar, and change can be a difficult thing for a lot of people. A lot of people would rather suffer through, insufferable behavior and insufferable moments in their lives rather than, take that leap and put themselves out there. And I think at the end of the day, that's what that song is really encouraging all of us to do. Wind Behind the Rain is your final track. Somber arpeggiated riff to open. Vocals going to enter into the song and just evoking more nostalgia. Lyrics are really focused on just fond memories. And I can't just emphasize that enough. I appreciate that through all the pain that he is trying to work through, he still has that outlook. Great solo around 2:15 to close this thing out. If you haven't listened to this record already, please give yourself a go on this thing. It's a hot 38 minutes. It does move pretty fast. But I think that this is one of those projects where like I dare you to get through it without shedding maybe a tear or two. I couldn't. I just, reading along with it as well, I think that's a fun thing to do as well. Give this album a listen. And then if you really love it, go back and just follow along with the lyrics, like really go along with the storytelling and feel this thing from start to finish. This album, I'm going to give this an 8.8 out of 10. It is a big vinyl please. Probably going to be one of my favorite records for the year. I think I can confidently say that, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2025, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.